Hey guys, just coming out of the Taylor Shabusiness trial and to see what this Sarah Boone letter is all about. You make it a little bit bigger. And all I've seen is this top part, the very top part. I haven't read the text yet. She appeared in the status conference the other day, upset at the judge with her question at the end of, dude, where's my letter at? It should be posted on the internet. And she wants everybody to read it, the whole world, I think. So let's see what she's got to say. Hand delivered 7/21/23. Revisions made 7/20/23. Original not uploaded to date. Second attempt to make public, like everything else in my case, including all my other letters. Freedom of speech, mine. So she was having a good one while she was writing this, it sounds like. Get down here to where I can scroll. All for your review, critique, judgment, understanding. Try it. So she's about out of patience with this planet. Luckily for her, with the UFO hearings and things, there may be another species onboarded that can have a new communication with her, and she won't have to be impatient with everybody. So clarify, to become or make clear. Thank you. Clarity, clearness, per the Merriam-Webster's dictionary. Thank you for that. Always be lecturing. Where do I even start? Through the officer inmate grapevine and a letter I received from my fan mail, and usually the only way I find anything out regarding my case, since there is no communication from my current attorney, now 10 weeks, more of complete silence. And yes, my sixth attorney, which I will clarify momentarily. She's underlining here to make sure you can call back to the earlier definition of that word. I was made aware my last letter was featured on the news locally. Realistically, meaning globally. Yes, because we all watch your local news station and not get things off the internet and do it ourselves. So it's all about that local news. Apparently, my very legitimate, lawful, Daryl Brooks Consulting, perhaps, real questions and concerns I ask and am still caused a stir on top of the already engulfing whirlpool my case has become and made out to look like, which it is not, by the way. Hence my previous questions from said letter. I am trying to protect and maintain my truth, which no one knows. Why are you keeping that secret? If it's such a great alibi, why not tell people that? You've written like 6 billion letters. Where's your truth at? Just saving it for the shock moment in front of the jury? I don't know. Since no one else will, however I can, I keep some of the illicit ugliness at bay. Mismanagement at its finest and everything. I think if the world did need a manager, Sarah would be the one for that job, right? Because she is sure that she can judge all of that, which is great. Why wasn't I included at all? Why wasn't I asked prior to being highlighted so I would know what was said or asked or criticized so I could rightfully defend myself? You know, you could, if you had this great excuse, put that in this letter you're addressing to the whole planet. What was so newsworthy? The level of butthurt you're showing is greater. I mean, in Florida, they'll run a news story about a sinkhole, right? The ground just collapses, the hole, it goes up on the news. So when you also reach a sinkhole level of butthurt like yours, it could be on the news. By not including me is unfair and adds to the assumptions of what everybody wants me to end up being and thinks I am. This is wrong, and also adds to the prejudgment of my case. All of the idiotic theories, empty opinions, and false accusations is all the ignorant world knows from all the pertinent private case details available to everyone except me, the defendant in my case. Now, again, since she was the one there, she knows more of the details of her case than anyone else. And she is now starting to sound like, to me, the kind of person who would leave the world in a suitcase if she could fit it in there and not have to be drunk to do it. How can I defend myself? Go to court and testify. My guess is you won't testify. You could also put it in this letter, but you won't. Well, I shouldn't say that. We've still got a couple pages to go. I can't, so everything gets meaner, more evil, corrupt, and out of control. Got a lot of perceptions coming out of her jail cell. I believe this is what a trial is for, right? The world is supposed to learn everything about my case during the trial, right? Wrong. Where did you get that idea from, Sarah? Maybe less time playing hide and seek, more time studying the justice system before you judge it. This is not justice or a system, right? All fairness has been completely removed, right? So were any of my questions answered? Was anything at all clarified regarding evaluations, amendment violations, case sensitivity protection, suppression? What's the video hit count now reach? My last letter, it was over 3 million. Not on my channel. You're safely obscure on my video. Only the most astute and engaging and intelligent people watch the videos I make, and that's not 3 million. How much does that shareable income make for everyone? Did anyone locate my attorney or discovery? Everything everyone elsewhere in the world knows, has seen or listened to. All of my discovery again except me. Exactly. Farmers out in the rice paddies in Vietnam know more about your case than you do, because everyone in the world knows everything that you don't, even though you're the only person who was there, and you are actually the only person who knew what you did, and you didn't want to watch the video of you murdering your boyfriend when the police found it, because that was inconvenient, and that could have jogged your recollection of what you did. In the meantime, here's a, what does this say? A corner piece. Oh yeah, a corner piece to my convoluted. She's always switching metaphors and things. I can't channel her exactly, especially coming off of this other case. In the meantime, here's a corner piece to my convoluted puzzle. All are wondering when it will finally be put together to see what the real picture is. I'm not wondering. I think I got the picture, which is y'all were drunk. You got him in a suitcase and you left him there while you made fun of him and he begged to be let out. You went to sleep. You woke up. He was dead. That's not a 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle, dude. That's like a 2-piece jigsaw puzzle. And I think it's not the hardest to solve. Also, a huge disentanglement of only an inkling of some of the misunderstandings and ignorance swirling about my case, in my case. Before you try wearing my slides, know where they've been. That's disgusting, but I appreciate that she's adapting that old saying to her current conditions of her orange prison slides. My attorney's 6. She is the kind of the rain woman-esque there. Wapner at 5. She likes putting the digits in there. My attorneys win, and as I've said numerous times in my previous letters, why not by choice, I am on a 6th attorney. That is, to some degree, some of them had conflicts and stuff, but she also potentially, I'm just spitballing here, not the easiest person on the planet to get along with. Here is some clarity so everyone can finally have some understanding why my slides are so worn, but definitely walkable still. So is this her truth coming? Let's see. Attorney number 1, private. That person allegedly lasted more than 2 years. This attorney sold me the world, promised exoneration, and supplied an overabundance of other continuous false hopes so I would accept his offer to become my attorney. Okay. He had no idea what my case was going to be or what it was really about. Then he deserted me, his client. Naive and new, I think is what that says. Maybe, I'm not sure. 2 weeks before my first scheduled trial due to irreconcilable differences. Now that's one of the least shocking things I've heard in a while. And I'm not sure the attorney potentially promised all the things that she perceived were promised. I don't know. Meaning I was not persuaded enough to agree with what he wanted me to say or do, and was not what happened. There was no trust. There was no strategy. And if there was, I was never included in it, or an innumerable amount of other case-defining details and questions left unanswered before going to trial. Yes, such a mystery of what happened. If only I had a video of it. If only I had a video of the person doing it, talking about why they were doing it and what was going on. And if only they had a video of the victim as well while he was in that position, that would help. Oh, I'm sorry. Wait, they do have 2 of those thanks to you. I felt he was sabotaging my case, setting me up for failure due to his, what does that say? Micro amount of experience. Is that what that says? Okay. Which I found out after the fact. It was not disclosed prior to my acceptance of his representation. There's nothing that happens in this woman's life where she is not a victim. And my macro size case. Okay, now I see why she used the micro, because she wants to be able to call back to it with a macro. She's the clever writer, isn't she? Nonetheless, when we did meet to discuss my case and I asked for updates about my progress, he would start talking to me about his client in Colombia, his clown of a sister-in-law. Maybe that's a doctor who could be an expert witness. His nephew going to water parks, trips he's taken, his regrets, where he bought his gold sneakers, and many other unrelated, unimportant. What do you mean unrelated, unimportant? I want to know where he bought those gold sneakers, and I got a feeling we're not going to find out. Many other unrelated, unimportant, time-consuming stories. All the while, I'm trying to figure out what's going on and why he's not answering any of my questions. Nothing was ever completed or accomplished or communicated. Building 1,000 fires, waiting and needed to put out before making another to be left ablaze. I'm not seeing the complexity in her case that she is, but I wasn't the one who left the guy in a suitcase, so maybe it's more than I know. I was always ignored and in the dark, conjuring the dreadful perpetual question mark looming still over my head. So much I prepared an 8-page packet for Judge Wooten to provide during both court dates, defending myself against my attorney's untrue, unresearched withdrawals. No one asked me or permitted to speak my truth. Your truth is not really determined whether the judge lets an attorney out of the case, right? What do you want, attorneys stay on the case when they don't want to? That's brilliant. To help him and the court understand my real concerns along with all the carryover since day one. I don't know if I'll be talking about carryover. It's too close to carry on. I was trying to avoid going through any of this again going forward. It had already been 2.3 Wapner years. I wanted the judge to include me and know I have a side also in everything. Plus, I knew Judge Wooten would be appointing my next attorney in hopes he would listen and appoint a more suitable, experienced one accordingly to save time for everyone to progressively move forward. Exactly. You are the person that the judicial system needs to stop and make a special effort to make sure you get the one right attorney. Her concern doesn't seem to extend to anyone but herself, and you have to know a system views you as one of a similar group of people and not the snowflake that you feel you are. He must have been throwing darts at a dartboard blindfolded. Well, that is how you select attorneys when in a court. The clerk has a giant dartboard and they throw a dart at it, and that's how you assign the attorneys to the cases. This attorney number one was and is untrustworthy, unreliable, unprofessional, with poor leadership skills, and is extremely unorganized. This is nothing good about that person, is it? I'm glad she doesn't name him because that sounds terrible. He was unable to perform ethically and as an adult, ignoring his client, misleading and deceiving. Let's get this lecture of maturity from Sarah Boone, whose primary defense was, we were playing hide and seek. He didn't even respect me enough to speak with before his withdrawal to try and remedy or figure anything out to stop. I was totally blindsided. Because of the magnitude of his ineptness and dereliction of duty, he's like the Titanic captain. As a result, withdrawing from my case at the 11th hour, after taking over 2 years with nothing I knew of but disappointment, I could have reported him to the Florida bar for legal malpractice. Exhaustion 1. I'm not sure that I would trust her narrative about said attorney. In fact, I do not. I'm also still waiting on him to release all of my case files and documents obtained and accrued during his representation, including well over 100 pages of my handwritten notes and information, which is irreplaceable. He is still not helping. Him no longer being my attorney was not my choice. Okay. Right. Now let's do a little group session here of attorney 2, 3, and 4. Public defenders appointed by judge/court. June 2022 through June 2022. So a short period of time. Judge Wooten and the court repeatedly appointed me public defenders. 3, Wapner, without any research or care. And after I continuously explained to each and tried to the judge court, they could not represent me due to their representation of the decedent. We've done our homework, I was told. I received three withdrawals, none by choice. Definitely not systematic. Attorney number 5, conflict, appointed by judge/court, June to July. Upon our first and only meeting, this attorney expressed his mass confusion in why he was appointed by Judge Wooten, as he was leaving for a teaching job out of Orlando within the week. I learned more from this attorney in one meeting regarding my case than all prior combined. So this was a superstar here. It was extremely disheartening he could not continue representation and set the bar going forward from that single brilliant meeting, especially regarding honesty and respect. I received only 2 letters from him, an introduction and a withdrawal. He also did not know where any of my discovery or notes were. Now 5 attorneys later, not by choice. Attorney 6, conflict, appointed by the judge, July 22 to the present. So here we go. We're coming to today here. 1 year, get ready for some serious stats I think are coming here. I wish I could make this bigger for my own glasses situation. All right, 1 year mark, 7/11/23, 12 months, 365 days, 52 weeks summarized. 8 total months, 240 days and counting. We are, with absolutely no communication in any form, completely inactive. Total amount of hours as court-appointed attorney, over 8,760. Total times met with client, me, 6. Total hours spent with client, 7. Total phone numbers given to client from attorney, 2. Numbers that work, 0. Total time speaking to client via phone, 0. Total number of 15-minute video visits with client, 4. Total number of letters sent to attorney trying to communicate, 8. Total number of letters to the judge trying to communicate my unsuccessful communication with my attorney in hopes he will communicate with him to communicate with me, 7. Letters to other parties to communicate. Oops, sorry, wrong scrolling item. Letters to other parties to communicate, 3. Total times in court, 3. 1 was an attempt to withdraw, 2 carryover. And over the last time I spoke with / saw my attorney, May 18, 2023. Where is the progress after 1 entire complete year unknown? Everyone, now listen, there are people watching this video. I see the view count up here, okay? And there are people in the chat. So now is the time for you to pay attention. Everyone, please look on the Orange County, Florida Clerk of the Court's website and see for yourself. Am I looking at it wrong? Reading the contents incorrectly? The mass majority of work seems to be from my correspondence. If not my letters, there's minutes, some live, to view from my non-progressive, lackluster court dates, stating the same information, some continuances, and of course, none of my comments, concerns, or questions from any. I don't just sit there, edited like my case. Okay. Right. Now, I'm going to pause here for a second and say again that the JAC filed a response to this request for an expert that her attorney just requested be appointed, and saying they had already paid for an expert who did an evaluation of her, and the state paid something like $7,500, and now they want a different expert. I don't see anything in these letters about meeting with that expert or the evaluation with that expert. I wonder why. All right, global community, let's join together to continue on this letter. I feel it important also to communicate to everyone so you understand the undertaking it is for an inmate to attend court and why it is so important to me to have progress to report to make the day count. We are woken up at 3 a.m., taken to a holding cell and wait plus or minus 4 hours, and then taken to the courthouse and put in another holding cell for however many hours until court time for only a 5 to 10 minute opportunity in front of the judge to say anything, if at all. Then taken to another holding cell for however long, transported back to another holding cell, wait however long, then taken to another holding cell, then back to our dorm. Most court dates are court days, spending between 8 to 14 hours for little to no time to speak. It's important to me / us, / we matter, hence my letters. What will be said for this when I wonder? Well, here's what I have to say to it. I think it is unfortunate that your case has taken so long. It apparently is slightly more complicated than we've been led to believe. If you already had an expert on your behalf, that you and your side have continued to ask for delays to try and get another expert. So there's part of that. The other part is being in jail sucks. I think that's the whole point of being in jail, is you don't get to do everything you want to do when you want to do it. And I know you're in pretrial detention and not adjudicated guilty, but it is going to be an inconvenience. So, and it's going to be way later this year. So keep that pen hand strong, because the October date, the defense attorney's already agreed with the judge, that's going to slide. Oh, okay. Story time again. Like Lois looking to the skies for Superman, I'm hoping / praying. And Sarah, I know you are an inventive writer and creative. Lay off the slash. That's not good form for writing. I'm hoping / praying for an attorney to step up and truly represent me with honesty, intensity, understanding, respect, and perspective. When they introduce themselves, they can me also, the real me, properly. Not the Frankenstein monster I'm being so wrongfully and incorrectly pieced together as from all the propagandized, lucrative defamation and attempted destruction of my character and still intact integrity. My opinion of her is simply based on the videos she took. Clearly, also, everyone can see all of the aforementioned information regarding my attorneys was not ever a strategy of mine, nor will it be. It is a strategy of the judge in court. I don't think it's anybody's strategy. It is, you know, regardless of my opinion of her, it is unfortunate that she's been through this many lawyers, the number that were not her issue, but it doesn't always work out like you want it to. Judge Wooten, will I be included, please? And she's starring it here for Judge Wooten. I think that means she still wants everybody, every single person on the planet to read this, but with a special attention from Judge Wooten. Will I be included, please, in my upcoming status hearing prior to my pretrial conference, which is also the 1 year mark of attorney number 6 on 7/11/23. Now remember, this was updated. Will I be permitted? I was not attendance from you like all the news channels and professional YouTubers. I hope I finally see my attorney, whom will, I'm sure, tell me that you so graciously explained to me in my last pretrial conference I was made a part of, consuming my minute minutes of your invaluable time, that you and he have other clients. I am a client and have been for over a year with this attorney and paid tax dollars to utilize all of my available resources, including and not limited to a state or government attorney appointed by the court. Well, your tax dollars on a personal savings account to get a lawyer just like you want it. And that's for people who can't afford a lawyer. And that includes people who don't pay tax money. So it does suck. There are, I think, some negative things to say about how her situation has been handled. But on the other hand, it isn't Burger King. You will not have it your way. And we're getting down to the signature block. Has anybody seen what her truth is about the facts of the case? She's very concerned about being portrayed as a monster. Any explanation for what happened, or any mention of what happened, or the victim, or loss in this case, or regret that a death resulted? I didn't see it. I don't know if you did. She hasn't paid taxes in a year, has she? Oh, she's never paid taxes in her whole life of any. That would have, maybe she'd get a one hour of a lawyer's time. And you always have clients. You never know when you may become one yourself. Good to warn these people, Sarah. They don't know that. I thank you for educating them. Please do not discredit my truth. I am who, not what. Respectful and diligent, Sarah Boone. So that's the letter that she wanted everybody to read. It was really important. That was her question to the judge after her last status conference. Why is my letter not posted on the internet where the whole planet can see it? And now it is, and we have seen it. What it doesn't appear to have in it, despite her continued protestations that she's being misjudged and judged improperly and hasn't had the opportunity to tell her truth, is any mention of the person who was killed, any regret for that loss, and any explanation for it. So exactly how anybody's supposed to understand what her truth is a concept I don't get, because it has never been explained. And I think the idea currently is to get this $400 an hour expert to come in and say that it was self-defense because she was in fear of serious bodily harm or death at the time that she left him in the suitcase, which I do not buy. That would be a waste of other people's tax dollars to fund that. And the judge may do it, the judge may not, because apparently she already has had an expert. And anyway, if the judge appoints somebody or whatever, the state gets to have an expert too, and the scope of the examination of her depends on what she wants her expert to do. So that's why the judge said to the defense lawyer at the last status conference, you're not really going to be ready at October 2nd, are you? And he said, no, of course not. So her case is going to slide a while, and she will be spending more time in her slides and getting more aggravated, I'm sure, at the system. But I gotta say this, Sarah. I get you on the procedure and why it does suck, and you've been in there a long time without your trial coming up yet. Some of that's your fault, not all of it. Some of it is the system. But I'm going to speak on behalf of the entire planet now, and that's unfair, but I feel like I can, which is, if you want people to know your side of the story, then you'd have to tell it. Otherwise, nobody has any idea what the hell you're talking about. What we have seen is your interrogation video and the videos you took at the time the other guy was in the suitcase. They don't look good for you, and I don't know how you talk your way out of that. If it's self-defense, that won't be convincing me, but I'm not going to be on the jury, so I know I'm not the target audience there. You just need somebody to buy that, but I don't believe it. All right, so let's see what's up here. And my coffee is kicked in. Let's check and see if there's any comments to talk about on this. Here's a good comment. I think this is a wise doctrine. I generally try not to kill people, but that's just me. And I'm with you on that. I feel like, the system makes mistakes and it's not always efficient. And one of the ways to you know, one of the great ways to avoid being part of it, if you can, is to not kill people. That helps. It's not an insurance policy against going to jail, but it's definitely something that could help. Where's F. Lee Bailey when you need him? Yeah, not with her. So, no. The only time I ever saw him in court, he didn't say anything. So that's interesting, isn't it? He didn't say anything. They let Johnny Cochran do the talking. And that was a good lawyer. Why is she allowed internet, social media? Well, I don't know how she got this. Didn't she say she heard it through the officer-inmate grapevine? And, you know, I don't really care if she's able to see the internet or not, but I think that's how she said that she found out about this. Well, I hear somebody saying the interrogation was awful. Yeah. On the other hand, she pretty much admitted everything it would take to prove that she engaged in a reckless homicide. And she was convinced the entire time that as long as she pretended it wasn't intentional, she'd get off. And oops, that was a boo-boo. Yes, the videos she took with him begging her to help will be all that's needed to keep her in prison. Now, remember, during interrogation, they said, hey, look at this video. And she goes, you're killing me, trying to make me watch this, which I thought was a great irony because they were not killing her. She was killing him. And my truth, yeah, the whole my truth thing, you know, I get to some degree where that's coming from, but that's a term that to the degree it had utility has been hijacked with people who are not telling the truth. Yes, thank you for clarifying that. She also said that her fan mail had alerted her to these things because she, you know, I guess people write to her, which is fine. I think lawyers 1 through 5 are laughing their heads off. Nobody wants a hot potato. Maybe so, but it may be just glad to have dodged that bullet. Perhaps, especially lawyer 1. Some of the other ones got out easier, I think. So that's her latest letter and all she had to say to the entire planet. And the judge made a comment before that he thought it was substantially similar to the one he'd gotten before. And I agree with that. I don't see the bombshell in here that makes me think, wow, that puts a whole different spin on these videos, man. I didn't know that. I don't see that. I just see a lot of whining and complaining. And while some of it's justified, a lot of it isn't. And it just represents kind of who she is. And so let's see. Well, that's it for this one. We got through that letter and we'll see. She's got her hearing coming up to whether she gets this other expert or not. And then her trial date, while some people believe it will be in October, you had to have listened to the judge and the defense attorney saying that's not the way it's going to go down. And it isn't. So I'd be surprised if that case happens in this year. But the Taylor Business case did kick off. It's been very orderly so far and it's proceeding quite rapidly. Well, that's it for now. Talk to you guys later. Thanks. Bye.